Foreign Relations Committee. Good morning, Senator.
Allison, it's good to be with you. Thank you.
It's good to have you on this important morning. I want to ask you about a phone call that you got last night from the White House. Who called you?
It was a member on the National Security Council to let me know that an attack was taking place in response to the chemical use of weapons by Syria, and told me the specifics and when the president would be addressing the nation.
And how do you explain that with all due respect, that the White House called you individually rather than, say, taking this to Congress as a whole?
Well, the president does have certain discretions under Article 2, but it does require consultation with Congress, and there is a requirement to at least submit to us what he wants to do in regards to force. The question is what comes next. If he's going to continue to use force, he really needs to consult with Congress and tell us exactly what authorization he would like to have on the use of force, and then we'll consider that. But we need to do that in the broader context of what his Syrian policy is. How are we going to get rid of President Assad? How is he going to end up being held accountable for his war crimes? How are we going to end the civil war? We can only do that through political negotiations. We can't do it militarily. So I think what Congress is going to be asking is, how do we bring this Syrian conflict to an end?
But when you got this phone call last night from someone on the national security team, what was your response?
Well, I certainly was not surprised. What Syria did, what President Assad did, required action. We all understand. Well, I understood that. The question is, what is the mission? What are we trying to accomplish? How do we get Assad out of Syria, and how do we bring an end to the civil war? We don't know the president's policies in that regard. So there's a lot of questions that I think Congress would like to have answers to, and the American people would like to have answers to.
Well, let's talk about what Congress is going to do about this, because you got the phone call last night. The president did not take it to Congress. I understand that you believe that he has latitude to do that. But if now, say today, say next week, he comes to Congress because he wants to have some more military action against Syria, does Congress have the stomach for authorizing something like that?
Well, it's too early. We have to see what the president's going to ask for. I think that Congress wants to be part of a unified foreign policy. We want to end the war in Syria. We want to concentrate on ISIS, on the terrorists. We want Assad out. We want a government that will represent all the people of Syria. It's not just our desires. I think that's what the international community is looking to. 6 years this conflict's been going on. So we want to be, Congress should weigh in and give the president the authority he needs in order to work with our international partners to end this conflict. The question, of course, is there is no military solution here. You're not going to be able to bomb your way to a peace in Syria. The Syrians must work out their problems. President Assad must be held accountable for his war crimes. He's lost credibility as a leader. He must leave the presidency. These are not just what America thinks. This is what the international community is telling us. The question is, how does the United States, President Trump, lead in that? And if he gives us a comprehensive way that we can bring this conflict to an end, I know Congress is anxious to work with the president.
So you think that if President Trump went to Congress and said, here's my plan for overthrowing Bashar al-Assad, the Congress would greenlight that?
It's not overthrowing Assad. It's bringing peace to Syria. It's a political solution.
Sure, but you have to get rid. What I hear you. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Part of that political solution.
You have to get rid of Assad.
President Assad could not bring peace to Syria. Those families that have seen their children choked to death are not going to allow President Assad to be president of Syria. He has to go.
And again, the devil is in the details. Do you believe that your colleagues in Congress would authorize something like that? Because, as you well know, heretofore they haven't been comfortable with that. You voted in 2013 for President Obama to take some sort of military action in Syria after the last big chemical attack, but your colleagues in Congress were not all on board.
There's two questions here. We're not going to be able to use military to win a war in Syria that can bring peace. That there's no military solution. It's going to have to be a political solution. Therefore, I think Congress will be very cautious on the use of military force. But Congress can help the president achieve the political success of bringing the parties together. Let's have a plan. We need a plan first. We don't have a plan from the president. We don't know what his strategy is in Syria. We don't know how he deals with Russia. How does he deal with Iran? That's part of the Syrian crisis. How do we concentrate on the terrorists? We don't have a game plan. We're not only fighting Assad's Syria, we're also in conflict with Russia and Iran in Syria and with ISIS. So it's a complicated situation, but we need to have a plan from the president. I don't think, I don't know, and I'm not sure of any member of Congress who really understands President Trump's strategies in regards to Syria. It's too early to say whether we would weigh in with a specific authorization when we don't even have that request from the president.
Understood. Senator Ben Cardin, thanks so much for taking time for us on New Day this morning.
Thank you.